Apple should fire this agency, then fire everyone at Apple who failed to recognize the anti-Apple message at this ad's core. Then this agency should fire everyone involved with this ad who didn't voice the reservations before showing it to Apple.
Okay, that's pretty strong.
Ruslan.
Apple put out the announcement for their brand new iPad Air, and it has the internet in a frenzy because of this latest ad that is celebrating the thinnest iPad ever created, but in a very bizarre way. But before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan, and this channel exists to encourage, empower, and inspire you to live a life that blesses God. On this channel, we drop podcast clips and topics that are a little too spicy for the main channel. So if you're new here or if you're not new here, please make sure you're subscribed here too, as we're edging on 250,000 subscribers, and huge majority of you guys that watch this channel, unfortunately, are not subscribed. All right, let's jump into the video. If you guys didn't know, Apple announced their new iPad Pro, and it's apparently the thinnest device they've ever made, which I'm like, I don't know who was asking for that, but fair enough. And so they put out this ad. We're going to look at the ad, and it has the internet going crazy.
Apple's latest advertisement for the new iPad Pro has ignited a firestorm of criticism on social media, with users expressing their disappointment and even disgust over the ad's tone-deaf and offensive nature. The ad, which showcases the device's thinness and advanced display, has been met with widespread disapproval, with many users calling it the worst ad Apple has ever produced. The controversy has sparked discussions about Apple's marketing strategy and its relationship with its core audience, leaving some to wonder if the tech giant needs to reassess its approach to advertising. Now, they probably got pro-Palestine. They probably got some anti-Black Lives Matter. They probably got, what else did they got? They probably have some pro-life rhetoric in here.
No. It's
I mean, that's aggressive.
It's much simpler than that.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It's much simpler. Let's look at, so Tim Cook posted, this is an official ad. They just let it rock.
Oh.
No. Okay, so it's like a vinyl shot of a vinyl record. And then it has all these colors and statues and instruments and all this cool stuff, pianos, video games, right? All this like analog stuff.
Yep. Paint.
Some paint.
Baby grand piano. And it's all being...
And it's being smushed down.
Metronome. We've got some art. We got some sculptures. We've got art supplies. We've got...
Piggy banks.
Lenses. TVs. There's lenses.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe they did that to those lenses. Those
Guitars, they're probably they're kit lenses.
You think they're kit lenses?
Yeah. And then we've got emojis.
Okay, so all that gets
Squished.
And what do they announce?
The reveal, all of that in this tiny little thing.
Wow.
And that's exactly how I
the new iPad Pro.
The sound design was cool, the music was cool.
Now to be fair, this iPad Pro with the M4 chip has some amazing stuff in it.
Yeah.
The issue is that the ability to use it the way that you can use it is too cumbersome to use it on an iPad. Meaning, like, if you're trying to do 4K video editing on Final Cut Pro X, it's very cumbersome to try and do that on an iPad Air 13-inch display.
It's not the best.
Right? If you're trying to do music, Logic, if you're trying to paint, but I could see someone that's a painter legitimately getting good use out of this.
Yep.
But the M4 chip isn't in anything, and their last one had an M2 chip, which is fire. I think this computer is on an M2 chip, the one that we're streaming on.
Yeah.
Right? So they're already crushing it. Like their technology is crushing. So they put their fastest chip in their thinnest device, and they don't see what's wrong with it. So let's talk about what some of these comments are, right?
Apple should fire this agency, then fire everyone at Apple who failed to recognize the anti-Apple message at this ad's core. Then this agency should fire everyone involved with this ad who didn't voice the reservations before showing it to Apple.
Okay, that's pretty strong. I know that Apple was going
for, but this is so depressing.
Yeah. Why is this depressing, Zach? I think this is the worst technology product advertisement ever. Actually horrifying. If you want a picture of the future, imagine Apple crushing human things forever.
So that's kind of the takeaway that people are upset about.
OMG, the new Apple. Yeah.
The new Apple ad is better played backwards.
That's amazing. Somebody made this backwards.
So feels fitting that Apple produced probably the worst ad in its history, right? As the company is facing its first global revenue decline in a long time. Terrible ad. It symbolizes Apple destroying creative equipment for a slightly thinner iPad that no one asked for.
And that's the issue, is that all of these things are things we value. To have everything in a nice compartmentalized device, I mean, that's what we have in our phones. That's what we have on our computers, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that the issue here is that they're out of step with their consumer, who would actually be in the ballpark for this, as simple things like vinyl sales are increasing. For the first time ever.
Yeah.
Vinyl sales have outpaced CD sales and digital downloads.
Yeah.
So you got vinyl increasing. You have people wanting more physical items, right? And Apple, who is viewed as a brand that's more creative, doing destruction to the very things that the target audience for this actually appreciates, right? Because what's so fun about creating if it's all just on a screen?
It's a fact. That's a fact. And I will say that. Like, the only reason someone would want an iPad is for the time when they're not next to their piano.
Right.
The only reason someone's going to want an iPad is because they're on a plane and they can't sit down in front of their canvas and paint.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of tone deaf to be like, let's destroy all your things and act like you never need these things ever again. That being said, I think the Backlash, hot take, is way over.
Well, I mean, it's X. Like, it's, you know what I mean?
They're like, the worst ad ever.
Yeah, it's
tone deaf.
It's the internet. Well, what I'm saying is that there's a disconnect between what you're known for, which is, we are the brand of creatives. We are the brand of the Imaginaires. We are the brand of the people that are using our stuff, not PCs, because PCs is for the nerdy gamers. We're the people that are making the cool stuff for the creative people to get their ideas out. And then all the things that we value as creative people, real paint, real instruments, real vinyl, all the physical things that are upticking in value right now, they destroy an ad. That's the punchline.
The only thing that would make this ad worse for this community is if the press opened up and revealed an icon for ChatGPT 4. if it was like a Mid-Journey ad or a daggone Firefly ad, it's just all AI. It's like, you don't need any of this. This is just AI.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing that could make this a worse response.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's warranted. Like, I don't know if the ad is as bad as people are making it out to be, but it is definitely tone deaf, to say the least, right? Because again, the very people that would use this thin iPad,
you're dunking on.
Or you're dunking on. And then it's also a weird place of like, why have an iPad if you can have this in a laptop?
Like, why don't they have a touchscreen MacBook yet that has a complete foldable display where you can write on it like an iPad, but then flip it back like a laptop?
Because they're definitely going to throttle how much juice you can get out of this M4 chip on an iPad.
Exactly. It's like, it's M4, but it's the same thing as like 4K on a 2015 GoPro.
Right.
It's like, it doesn't really, you have that many pixels, it doesn't mean the bit rate and all the other things that go into making a high quality video image are actually there. So it's the same thing. It's like, oh, you have an M4 processor and a couple gigs of RAM and some other iPad components that aren't going to work as strong as a computer.
I like techie stuff, but I'm like, there's no utility for this.
I do agree with that.
Unless I was drawing, like if I was making cartoons and I drew, then I'd be like, oh yeah, like I should lean into. But there's no practical utility for this thing.
The only thing I really enjoy my iPad for is creating like little logos that I can then throw into Illustrator and like do that little effect where it makes it into like an actual PNG.
How often do you do that though?
Not very often.
Yeah.
Or like I'll probably my most used thing I use my iPad for. I have the magnetic case and it magnetizes to my fridge, and so when I'm cooking, I can see the iPad at eye level instead of bending over.
Yeah, that's fine.
And like with a printed piece of paper or my phone, like a tiny little screen.
Yep.
But it's like I can do that on an iPad Air. I can do that on the 11-inch. You know, it's like the thing I think I have the most utility for.
And you don't need the M4 chip.
No, I don't need
throw
the
that
M4 chip.
Throw that M4 chip in a freaking MacBook Air.
Yes.
That's going to be half the price of this, by the way, because look up what a new MacBook Air is. Those MacBook Airs are beastly. Like, those things are fire. And if you throw this chip in a MacBook Air, now you actually have a product that people want.
So let's see what the new iPad is. Now that they just announced it,
it's like it's expensive. It's definitely more than a MacBook Air.
iPad Pro, 13-inch, space black, of course. Let's get something reasonable.
Yeah,
like
let's
512 gigs.
Standard glass. They have it
crazy.
Wi-Fi.
Let's do Wi-Fi and
Yeah.
cellular. Actually, let's do Wi-Fi because we'll compare it to an iPad
You
or
mean
to
a MacBook Air.
MacBook. Yeah. No engraving.
And what does this come out to?
And then we're going to add Apple Pencil USB-C for sure. And then we're also going to add the keyboard because it needs to be equal.
Sure.
Black, of course. And now we are looking at
Right there.
1578
1578. Okay.
for all the things that would make it.
Now look up a MacBook Air, which you can plug in an external hard drive, work off of that, so you can keep the same.
I love their site.
I have the black MacBook Air.
Oh,
right?
yours is the MacBook Air.
Yeah,
Wow.
I have the MacBook Air. I've done video on it. I think I got the MacBook Air M2 chip. I don't even think I have an M3 chip.
So
let's
13-inch.
Let's just look at an M3, which by the way is not going to be much different. M3 versus M4 is not going to be that much different for what we're doing. Okay.
Okay.
So let's do 512.
512 gigs. Select.
You don't need a keyboard.
You don't need. I'm assuming it's 8 gigs of memory.
Yeah, don't.
As the iPad.
Yeah, don't upgrade anything.
512.
Keep everything the same.
Everything's fine. $1,300.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing buying an
Unless
iPad?
you're driving. I mean, excuse me. Unless you're drawing.
Yep.
What are you doing? Why would anybody? And this is a beast of a machine. You can do 4K, 6K video. It's not gonna mess up. Like this is a beast of a machine, right? So, yeah. So I don't understand. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Comment down below and let me know what you think. And be sure to check out this video that YouTube is recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right. I'll see you over there. Peace.